हमारी एह नजर समीपे रहो हमारी एह। घनश्याम महाराज नीजे, हरि कृष्ण महाराज नीजे, स्वामीनारायण भगवान नीजे, ठाकुर जी महाराज नीजे। Sadguru Shri Muktanand Swami Sevit, our dear Thakurji Maharaj, Piyuda Shri Ghansham Maharaj, Satsangni Ma Sadguru Shri Muktanand Swami, our Divine Guru Parampara, our Mokshna Data, Pujya Guruji, and all of you Santo and Bhakto, Jai Swaminarayan. As we continue on with the Yuva courses, this week, Yuva course week 4, the theme is intense yearning or need. Something that is very, very needed in satsang. Nonetheless, something that everyone appreciates, everyone needs, everyone has to have in order to progress in satsang. Intense yearning, need. What does that mean? Now, need is a very simple word. Intense yearning is something where it's very, very, it's like a do or die situation. But need for what? Yearning for what? That is the difference in the world and in satsang. Many people need sleep more than the normal amount. Many people need materialistic pleasures. Many people need luxuries because it's become a necessity, it's become a lifestyle. But in reality, that's not needs. Those are actually extras. Those are more wants, desires than needs. We need oxygen. Yes, that we can say. We need food. Yes, that we can say. We need 6 or 7 hours of sleep. Yes, that is necessary. We need shelter. We need clothing. All these are needs. These we cannot live without as humans on this earth. But these needs are of this body. But the needs that are for satsang are different. A need for bhagwan, Thakurji Maharaj, a need for Thakurji Maharaj. What does that mean? Now, one thing is, we need bhagwan. Bhagwan doesn't need us. True or false? True. That is correct. Why? Because everything that we see or we may not see is all supported by bhagwan, even ourselves. Now, without his support, we or everything else is nothing. So we need bhagwan in our life. Number 2, we need our Pujya Guruji in our life. Now, need meaning just like how if we were lost in a desert and we did not have water to drink for just 3 days, temperature goes probably over 100, 105, 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and a normal human or even an extraordinary human cannot survive without the element of water. In the same way, how in our mind we keep running, I need water, I need water, I need water, search of an oasis, search of any kind of water source. That's a need, that's an intense yearning. In the same way, the need for the Ekantik Satpurush is a necessary, is a must according to the Vachanamrut. The Vachanamrut is our guide because it is all Bhagwan Swaminarayan's Vavani or speech. Bhagwan's speech cannot be compared to any other speech. Bhagwan's context cannot be matched with any context. In the same way, inside of the Vachanamrut, Bhagwan Swaminarayan has shown the greatness and mahima of the Ekantik Satpurush and the need for the Ekantik Satpurush, and without the Ekantik Satpurush, Atma realization, Varta 11th Vachanamrut I'm talking about, Atma realization of Bhagwan's form and his darshan are just not possible without the affection, or without developing affection for the Ekantik Satpurush and the need for the Ekantik Satpurush. Nonetheless, the gateway to liberation is only opened when we develop such kind of intense affection, Gadara 1st chapter 54, because of the need for the Ekantik Satpurush. Bhagwan Swaminarayan, how much ever times he has stated regarding some vat about him, God, similarly, he has also kept the Ekantik Satpurush with him parallel throughout the way, because it's just not possible without the Ekantik Satpurush to reach Bhagwan's divine abode, Akshardham, and become free from the shackles of Maya, this illusion, this I-ness, this minus, this body, the relatives that we have been taught since a young age that this is my mother, this is my father, this is my sister, this is my brother. These kinds of shackles can only be broken by the Ekantik Satpurush's samagam, the Ekantik Satpurush's daya, the Ekantik Satpurush's drashti. And that can only be possible if we have a need for his Santa Samagam, if we have a need for him, his company. That's why this theme may be short, but it is probably one of the most important elements in satsang, in surviving in satsang, in progressing in satsang, in accelerating in satsang, and in attaining in satsang. This one factor goes throughout all these elements, because without the need of someone, you yourself or something, then what is the need for anyone else? Then one cannot attain Bhagwan. That's why this topic of need is something that we, devotees of Loyadham Parivar, definitely want to instill in our life. And lastly, need for Santo and Bhakto. Here's a chain. First Bhagwan, Thakurji Maharaj, then our Puja Guruji, then Santo and Bhakto. We need all four of them, but the need levels varies from highest to lowest in that way. But need for everyone is necessary, because without need, it is just pure ahankar or pure ego. Because if we don't need anyone, that means that we ourselves are fulfilled. We ourselves can do everything. We don't need anyone else. That's why Bhagwan Swaminarayan and the Ekantik Satpurush and Sadguru Santoni Vato teach us to develop an intense yearning, intense need for satsang. So let's move on to the map and let's see what today we have on the chart here. First and foremost, a nice gadi starting from, you can say right there, southern California, going to Spain, Gadara 1st chapter 57th Vachanamrut, and then on the coast of South Africa, Gadara last chapter 27th, and then going to China, Charitra 1, and finally we're ending in Australia with Charitra 2. This is our map layout for today. So without further ado, let's get started. Now we have a kadi that it's not on the screen, but I would like all of you to know that in our PDF packets, we do have it. Nonetheless, the kadi is very, very important because it teaches us how we need Maharaj and Guruji and Santo and Bhakto. Garju bin na hari hita lave. That kadi that we sing every day in the morning prayers by the Agna of our Puja Guruji, that kadi itself is something that we want to memorize in our life, because without this kadi, we are nothing. So, in this kadi, we are taught to have a need for Bhagwan, Guruji, Santo and Bhakto. But remember one thing, we need Bhagwan, Bhagwan doesn't need us. We need Guruji, Guruji doesn't need us. We need Santo and Bhakto, they don't need us. And this can only be possible only when we decide that we want to let go of our ego. This can only be possible when we decide we want to become zero. This can only be possible when we decide that we have no existence on this earth in this satsang. Everyone and everything else is our existence. In Sadguru Shri Gunatitanand Swami Vatam, Swami states that in 1869, in that year, there was a very, very horrific famine in Gujarat, India. And Bhimnath was an area, a temple, where the you can say the servants of Bhimnath, the temple, at that time, that temple was wealthy and had a lot of grains. So people knew, poor or even middle class farmers knew that they would be able to get grains from the Bhimnath temple. And these servants would stay out of the temple outside and give grains to those who needed them. Only one fist at a time, that's it, just one fist and you have to get out of line. Now the Bhimnath temple was on a very high slope, so all these people in need of food would climb up in a line and would rush to get the grains. Now what would happen is, suppose that that servant would give one fist of grains to the people, the poor begging people. The people would say, please give me more, please give me more. I have children, I have a husband, or I have a wife, I have a family, please give me more. And the servants would become upset and would shove those people down, and they would roll off the whole slope and fall into the banks of the Nilka river. And then again they would get up and climb the slope again in line, and again ask for grains, begging. And they would do this multiple times until they got some more grains, because they have a very intense need for grains or food, because they have to provide for themselves and their family. Now this was an example Sadguru Shri Gunatitanand Swami gave in his Vato, but from that we can understand that even such kind of people, such kind of beggars, poor people that cannot find food, they have a need and an intense yearning to get it no matter what, however they need it. In the same way, we should have a need for Maharaj, Guruji, Santo and Bhakto. How so? Suppose we come to Mandir one time. We live in California. Example, Puja Guruji has come from India and is residing here in New Jersey. We come from California, Guruji knows us, and we can't wait to see Guruji. Now Guruji is here on stage, and we come and we have darshan of Maharaj, and we have darshan of Guruji. Now Guruji has so many other Haribhaktos that are talking with him, and you come by and you bagelag Guruji, and you want more of a feedback, but you do not receive a feedback. Instead, Guruji kind of just says Jai Swaminarayan and kind of moves on like he doesn't really know us. Now, if we have in our mind such kind of set that, oh, Guruji must talk to me more, or I want to talk to Guruji more and he must talk to me, and we don't get that response, and we kind of become saddened or become depressed, or kind of develop a mentality that Guruji can't see me, I'm here, he can't see me. This is not the need for Guruji. Instead, this is more of an ego. This is more of I am something, look at me. But Another example, if Guruji or if Santo tell us about our swabhav, our nature, that is not suitable in satsang, and we cannot accept it or we cannot see it, and we take it the wrong way, and we stop talking to Guruji, stop talking to Santo, or we ignore everyone, we just sit in the corner. That is not the need for satsang, that is not the need for Guruji and Santo, that is ego. So to remove that very element, it is our job as satsangis, as Bhagwan Swaminarayan's devotees, as followers of our Puja Guruji, our Sadguru Shri Muktanand Swami, our Guru Parampara. It is very, very vital and important to develop a need for everyone. We need everyone, no one needs us. That is something, even if our swabhavs, even if our nature becomes very, very twisted by santos or bhaktos, we should still fold our hands and tell them that please remove my swabhavs so that Bhagwan and Guruji and all of you, I become dear to all of you. This is actually the real way to do satsang. This is actually the traditional format of doing satsang. But nowadays what happens is, due to this age of technology, due to this age in general, we mumukshus or spiritual seekers need some kind of attention, some kind of interaction, and without that we are not able to survive in satsang. That's why in reality the Satpurush becomes happy on those who he can insult, may it be in public or may it be alone. The Satpurush becomes happy on those who he does not have to take care of. The Satpurush becomes happy on those who can take care of themselves. The Satpurush becomes happy on those who he can trust and who he has no worries about. That's why it is our job to develop such kind of an understanding, so that nothing else, everything else becomes very smooth, and Satpurush can give us his Rajipo. Even if he is distant, we can feel his Rajipo in our heart here in America. Puja Guruji is in India, but we can feel his Rajipo, we can feel his presence, we can feel Maharaj's presence, Maharaj's Rajipo, even here. That is the very reason of doing satsang, is to develop Rajipo of Maharaj and his Ekantik Satpurush. So with this we go to our second stanza here, which is the Vachanamrut Gadira, first chapter 57. And in that Vachanamrut, I'm going to read the whole paratext. This is just a short version. Thereafter, Shivanand Swami asked, although one has an intense yearning to stay in the fellowship, satsang fellowship, why is it that some inappropriate swabhavs are still not eradicated? Shriji Maharaj explained, if a person has not developed an aversion for the type of swabhav that hinders him in satsang, how can he be said to have an intense yearning for satsang? And how can he be said to have realized that swabhav is his arch enemy? For example, if a friend of yours were to kill your brother, your friendship with him would no longer remain. Instead, you would be prepared to cut off his head. Why? Because the relationship with one's brother is closer than with one's friend. Likewise, a person may have a swabhav that causes him to break his religious vows and fall from satsang. If despite this, he still does not harbor any feelings of enmity towards it and does not develop bitterness towards it, then he does not have total affection for satsang. On the other hand, if his affection for satsang is like the affection of one has for one's brother, then he would shun that determinable swabhav immediately. After all, the jiva is extremely powerful. The mind and the indriyas are all merely the kshetra, whereas the jiva is the kshetragna. It can achieve whatever it attempts. Bhagwan Swaminarayan gives a beautiful example of how swabhavs are something that are an obstacle in the form of walking on the path of liberation. But if one has an intense yearning, if one has an intense desire and need for satsang, then he would let go of the swabhav, any swabhav, may it be anger, may it be ego, may it be greed, may it be jealousy, may it be hypocrisy, may it be etc., so on and so forth. He would be able to let go of that swabhav because he has a need for satsang. He wants to remain in satsang. In the same way, dear devotees, we belong to Sadguru Shri Muktanand Swami. Sadguru Shri Muktanand Swami belongs to us. Sadguru Muktanand Swami lived in this satsang by staying suppressed throughout his life. He had the most dasatva, he had the most sadguns, he had everything that Bhagwan Swaminarayan loved. Yet he stayed suppressed. He stayed below everyone. He remained humble throughout his life to show us how a devotee of Loyadham Parivar should be. In the same way, he did not have any swabhavs, yet he still displayed a need for Bhagwan, a need for Santo, a need for Bhakto. Then why can we not also attain and grasp this attribute of cup, which is in Gujarati, and we have translated as intense yearning or need? Why can we not? Why can we not let go of our ego? Why can we not let go of our I-ness? Why can we not let go of our mindness? If our Muktanand Swami did so, why can we not make an effort to do so? That is definitely a question we should ask ourselves. That is definitely something that we should ponder upon. Because even just by removing this one element of Subhav, and even by just accepting this one divine attribute of cup or need, everything else can be done. Everything will be done. We will attain Maharaj and Guruji and Santo and Bhakto and Muktanand Swami and our Guru Parampara's Rajipo without effort. Because this element, this attribute is just that great. This attribute is just that divine. So that's why as Loyadham Parivar Bhaktos, even if Santo or Bhakto may tell us about our Subhav, we should always be ready to accept that it is my fault. It is my fault and it is not anyone else's fault, and I want to remove my faults. I want to become a pure devotee of Bhagwan Swaminarayan. So this is the very bhav or the essence of this Vachnamrut. Nonetheless, we move on to the next Vachnamrut, Gadada, last chapter, 27th Vachnamrut. Shree Maharaj then continued, if a devotee has an intense yearning to engage in the bhakti of God and to associate with the Sant, then regardless of any swabhav that he may possess, he eradicates it and behaves according to the saint's will and command. Even if that swabhav is such that it has become bound to the Chaitanya, one who has an intense desire to do satsang will eradicate it. With that, he narrated his own story. Initially, my nature was that of a renunciant, but because I had an intense yearning for the darshan of Sri Ramanand Swami, I lived according to Muktanand Swami's instructions, not according to my personal preference. Unbelievable. Bhagwan Swaminarayan himself, the Supreme Lord of Lords, the Creator, Destroyer, and Sustainer of everything, the one who is Supreme Almighty beyond all avatars, is saying that my nature was that of a renunciant, meaning of a tyagi. But because I had an intense yearning, what is the need of Bhagwan Swaminarayan saying this? We must think as devotees. He put this in his Vachanamrut for a reason. He is Bhagwan, he is God of gods, yet he is writing here that I had an intense yearning. I had an intense need for the darshan of Sri Ramanand Swami. Ramanand Swami, who played the role of Bhagwan Swaminarayan's guru on this earth, knew that Nilkanvarni is Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord, because it was all preset, it was all planned. But also knew that he needed Nilkanvarni. Nilkanvarni did not need him. Yet, Nilkanvarni displayed such kind of an attribute of need or cup because to show us devotees that if I keep it, then you should all also keep it. There is no doubt. I lived according to Muktanand Swami's instructions, not according to my personal preference. Think about it. Bhagwan Swaminarayan, like letting go of his personal preference. Then who are we not to let go of our personal preference? Who are we not to absorb and accept the preference of Bhagwan and our Puja Guruji? If our Puja Guruji likes us to come to Mandir every Saturday, then why should we not come to Mandir? If our Puja Guruji likes us to do 5 Mansi Pujas, then why should we not do 5 Mansi Pujas? If our Bhagwan likes us to take niyams of vrats, austerities in Chaturmas, why should we not take niyams in vrats? If our Bhagwan Swaminarayan likes us to do Tilak Chanlo and wear a kanthi, then why should we be afraid of public ridicule? Such kind of personal preferences, if Bhagwan lets go of his, then why can we not let go of ours to please Bhagwan and his Ekantik Satpurush? This is the very format of satsang. This is the very foundation of satsang. This is the very core element of satsang, is to completely remove your DNA and completely put in the DNA of Bhagwan and his Ekantik Satpurush into you. Because our DNA is useless. Our DNA will never, ever get us to Akshardham. But if we remove our DNA in the form of Satsang, Santa Samagam, Vachanamrut, Swami Nivato, then and installed the DNA of Bhagwan, meaning DNA, meaning principles, understanding, thought process of Bhagwan Swaminarayan and his Ekantik Satpurush, then we'll be able to attain Akshardham in a snap of the fingers. That is the only way. Accept their principles, accept their understanding, remove our principles, remove our understanding. Without this, it's not possible. That's why Bhagwan Swaminarayan, I cannot believe he said this in the Vachanamrut. Even if I read this 5-10 times, it dazzles me, because Bhagwan himself is saying this. I had an intense yearning for the darshan of Sri Ramanand Swami. I lived according to Muktanand Swami's instructions. He is God, yet he still displayed dasatva, humility. Then who are we not to? I lived according to Muktanand Swami's instructions, not according to my personal preferences. What a God. There is no way, may it be in this universe, may it be in this earth or any universe or anywhere out there, that you or I or anyone will be able to find such kind of a Bhagwan. According to Karyani's 2nd chapter, Vachanamrut, there is no Bhagwan like this Maharaj, and there is no Sant like this in the Brahmand. Then what else is there to say? There is a period after that. After that sentence, it's period. That itself is a statement. Then This bhagwan is our bhagwan, and this Satpurush, there is no other Satpurush like this in the Brahman. That applies for us as devotees of Loyadham Parivar, as devotees of Muktanand Swami, as devotees of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, as followers of our Puja Guruji. This applies for us, no one else. That's why read it and join it to the Ekantik Satpurush. There is nothing else to do. So this was the principal format of this whole Yuva course. Now we want to move on to the Charitra format of it. And here the first Charitra is of Jalamsi Bapu. And Jalamsi Bapu was, well, let's just start with the story, but his story is also going to narrate this whole need and intense yearning in such a way where we would be able to see, even in the devotees in that time, in the not modern age, but in the old times, how much of an intense need they had for satsang. And from that we can absorb a little bit, 1 to 5% into our life, and move on slowly but surely in satsang. Swami, my body is at risk here, said Shriji Maharaj to Muktanand Swami, while getting his head shaved by a barber. Shriji Maharaj had arrived at Tavi village from Shiana near Limri. On the outskirts of the village, Shriji Maharaj was having his head shaved by a barber who was a little rough at his job. On hearing this, Jalamsi Bapu, who was standing nearby, requested, Maharaj, if you permit me, I can get a better barber from my village right away. Shriji Maharaj granted him permission, and Bapu left on his horse to get a barber. His village was 6 miles from Tavi. Knowing it would take Bapu some time to cover that distance, Maharaj decided to walk towards his village and the other sadhus and devotees. Exactly halfway to his village, Maharaj arrived at a small pond named Doli and held an assembly under a tree. On reaching Jalamsi Bapu's village, Jalamsi Bapu called the barber. The barber sharpened his razor, put it in his bag, and put the bag under his armpit and was ready to go. Bapu asked the barber to run along with him while he stayed on horseback. But how fast could the poor barber run with a bag under his armpit? Bapu wanted to reach Maharaj as soon as possible. Maharaj was waiting half-shaven in Tavi. What could not be done for the beloved Lord? So Bapu put aside his pride and reputation and put the barber's bag under his armpit and told the barber, hold this stirrup and run along with me. As soon as he reached halfway, he saw Maharaj seated in an assembly in Doli. Bapu lighted from the horse, came near Shriji Maharaj and stood with folded hands. At that time, Purnanand Swami also arrived there and was standing at the back. He could not walk as fast as the group with Maharaj, and so he was late. As the assembly was packed, Purnanand Swami did not get a proper seat. Seeing Purnanand Swami standing aloof, omniscient Maharaj commented, Has anybody seen ego's personified form? All was surprised to hear, and Maharaj continued, This Bapu, who is the ruler of the state and truly deserves respect, is standing there in a corner humbly holding the barber's bag under his armpit, whereas this sadhu, who should live humbly except to be honored. So saying, Shriji Maharaj pointed his finger towards Purnanand Swami. Feeling insulted, Swami immediately left the assembly and walked away. Shriji Maharaj had his half-shaved head under had his head shaved under the peepal tree and took a bath in Doli and other sadhus with other sadhus and devotees. Then he went with the group to Devila at the invitation of Jalamsi Bapu. As Maharaj entered the Darbar's courtyard, Keshaba was spreading some wheat on the veranda. Keshaba, what are you doing? Asked Maharaj. Small insects breed in the wheat, so I am spreading it in the sunlight. Expressing his pleasure, Maharaj blessed them. No more insects will breed in your food grains. But what do you really profit out of that? Asked Keshaba lovingly. Maharaj replied, I will take any soul leaving its body in your courtyard to Akshardham. Hearing such blessings for Shriji Maharaj, Keshaba and Jalamsi Bapu were overwhelmed with joy and fell at Maharaj's feet. Now this prasang has two parts to it. First is Jalamsi Bapu, who is a very, very, you can say, very, very graceful devotee for having such kind of a need for Maharaj and letting go of his reputation as a Bapu. In that time, there was a lot of heavy caste and a lot of heavy, you can say, weight on who you were and a lot of credit. Nowadays, it's not really that much seen, especially in India. But Jalamsi Bapu had a high status, yet, and obviously a barber status is very low, but his main intense desire was to please Maharaj by getting a barber. But it was getting late, so he himself let go of his reputation because he had a need for Maharaj. He had a need to please Maharaj and went to Maharaj with the barber so Maharaj can have his head shaved. On the other hand, Purnanand Swami, who was a sadhu, who was a Nand Pankti Sant, who was a very, very great singer, wanted praise and wanted to be honored. But Bhagwan did not give him that honor or praise. Bhagwan did not give him a very close seat or a very high seat. Due to that, he left the assembly. Such was the ego and the lack of need of Purnanand Swami that this whole charitra shows. And at the end of this charitra, after Bhagwan Swaminarayan arrives in Jalamsi Bapu's darbar, Bhagwan Swaminarayan blesses Jalamsi Bapu and Keshaba because they had an intense desire for Bhagwan and gave him blessings that all the insects, even the smallest insect or anything that leaves their body in your courtyard will go to Akshardham. This is the very essence of how one can attain Bhagwan's Rajipo by this element, by this Sadgun, by this divine attribute of need. And the second charitra is of Prabhashankar Bhagat. And this charitra also similarly goes hand in hand. But as Loyadham Parivar Bhaktos, we need satsang, we need Bhagwan, we need Guruji, we need Santo, we need Bhakto. They do not need us. Even if we remember this fact, even if we remember this statement, we'll be able to get the Rajipo of Bhagwan, Guruji, Santo and Bhakto and attain Akshardham and attain similar Rajipo like Jalamsi Bapu did through Shriji Maharaj. Saying this, my humble Jai Swaminarayan.